Hello, coming back for part 5, I believe, that we're on. And I was about to go into Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2 talks about, I will take my stand to watch. She was watching at a watch post in a military camp. Hear me with your spiritual ears here. She was at a watch post. I will take my watch and station myself on the tower. That's exactly where she was. And look forth to see what he will say to me. She was observing. She kept a vigilant eye. As she was keeping a vigilant eye, and what I will answer concerning my complaint. She had an issue. Her issue was she knew that she needed to have a level of leverage before she went into what it was that the other guy was offering her. As children of God, you are positioned in a weird place because you are a child of God. So religion, remember, the Jews that sojourned but were operating at a level of Baal, where they had an air of godliness but no God in them. There are people that are in positions of religious standing. They don't understand you. You're stuck in between them because they come with a level of pharisaical belief that you should walk one way as a child of God, and you have a religious spirit about them that no, you shouldn't do this and no, you shouldn't do that because you're a child of God, and because you're a child of God, this is don't get connected up in that and da 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 da. But you also know that you have the ability, or that the Lord is showing you and giving you wisdom into industries and also governmental positions. And you stand watch as a watchman to see these places. You have the ability to see the intricacies of the internal network because you're a watchman. Okay? And your complaint is, I see this stuff. I understand this stuff. I got concerns because you're telling me I need to go into these places. But how am I protected when I walk into this? You're telling me there's a promise. You're telling me there's this. You're telling me there's that. I need to make sure that you got me covered the whole way. She was making sure that she got covered. And the Lord answered me, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets, so he may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits for a time. The world is groaneth in waiting for the sons of God, the daughters of God, the people that are positioned, and hasten to an end, meaning there is a plan. God knows what he's doing, but it's a vision that he has, and he knows the intricacy of it. You're a watchman where he shows you the strategy of it, which gives you the vision that you have the understanding that you may be able to do parts as the Lord shows you. It hastened to its end. The world is coming to its end, but it's not coming to the end as it's been previously preached, so on and so forth. The Lord, if you read the book of Revelations, which if you notice, this is where we've been this entire time, it literally talks about the children of God are going to be brought up into the heaven or into this place, and they're going to stay there for 1,000 years while God does what he's going to do on the earth. Then they will be returned back down. It doesn't say that the world is going to end. It's just going to be an end of the things as we know it to be. You understand what I'm saying? But when these things come to pass, it will not lie. If it may seem slow, wait for it. These things will surely come. It will not delay. Behold, he whose soul is not upright in him shall fall. Did I not say that the idols are going to fall because they're not walking with God? But the righteous shall live by his faith. Moreover, wine is treacherous, meaning you should not be operating in a level of drunkardness or getting caught up in the spirits, the things of this world, getting drunk off of the worldly politics, ways, trends, the 7 mountains. Let's just be honest, because I'm going to get into that in a minute. That arrogant men shall abide in. His greed is wide as Shalom. Like a death, he has never enough. He gathers for himself all nations and collects his own all peoples. So, with that being said, I think I gotta go back to Revelations 3. Hold on. Revelations, what was I? Revelations 3. Okay. And which talks about let's see. Hold fast to what you have so that no one may seize your crown. Okay? God is saying that he's going to keep you in these times. There's coming times that are going to be treacherous and tumultuous. I'm going to get into that. Give me a minute. And because of that, you're going to have to endure with passionate patience. There's going to be hours of trial. He's leading me right into this, which is coming the whole world to try those who dwell upon the earth. I am coming soon. Hold fast to what you have so that no one can seize your crown. And then the Lord brought me to Revelations 5, where we review the 7 seals. I think I'm going to start in Revelation 6, actually. Is it 5 or 6? 6? Where are we? 6. We're going to start 6 and 7, okay? You have to have the understanding. God is no longer going to put up with what the people of the world think that they are doing to maintain this viewpoint. This is what we're going to do. This is the political moves, and these are the movements, and these are the this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to agree with what it is that we tell you to do. And they sit there and they believe that they are the ones that are in fullness of control of this world, acting as little God G's. But God, I talked about this earlier, the boom. God is counting down to a boom that's going to knock these people out of their position, that when the people that were bowing to them, meaning idol worshiping, celebrities, all this kind of stuff. When people realize these idols about to get knocked over, they about to see something that when this trial come, people gonna be like, oh, I thought y'all was in power. I thought you were the political leaders. I thought you were this. I thought you were that. They gonna show just how human they are. So you're either going to see them exposed for their demon counterparts. There's a whole teaching and understanding of the fact that there are what you've heard of as familial races. Everybody believes that the Illuminati is the thing. No. There are families. There are whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Whole lineages that are inbred. If you think that there's such a thing as bestiality, do you know that there are people in political positions that don't nobody ever see that's mixed bred with creatures? Don't nobody see it, and they think that they got the power. And God's about to be like, you can sit up there and hide in your, I'm going to expose you. I'm going to expose what's going on. I'm going to expose even the highest level of high. And when this time of trial comes, it's going to look like chaos in the streets. Chaos in these places. Because what you thought was in control. Because if you think back, remember when Saul was put into power? It's because the people asked for a king. And Saul got the position. They wanted somebody that they could worship. I don't get it with these people. These people sit up there and they continually want to raise an individual, because basically what it is they do not want to follow the leading of the Lord. So they rather have, give us a human being. Give us somebody. We don't want to follow you. So he was like, all right, I'm going to give you Saul. I'm going to put up this person, this individual. But they really ain't got all the power. I still got all of the power. And Lord allowed. He let seasons go by. He let the world do what it wanted to do. And a lot of people would be like, well, why is it that the Lord would allow this, that, and other? Because this is Satan's playground. So he allowing Satan to do what he gonna do for the season. He allowing Satan to do what he gonna do. But the God complex that Satan has is not going to overshadow or overpower God's plan. Because Satan will always try to offshoot and prove that he the most high. He got to duplicate and imitate what God did, when God's the one that's in power. Okay? But God gave his children vision and the ability to see. I'm sitting here right now looking at this note, and it literally is talking about Revelations 5. Revelations 6. I'm going to do 6. Now, I saw when the Lamb opened one of the 7 seals, one of the 4 living creatures, as with a voice of thunder, come. And I saw and behold the white horse. The white horse represents victory. God's going to get victory in this situation by the time all is said and done. But it's going to get ugly. Remember, there's a scripture that literally talks about there will be blood all the way up to the horses' bridles. Okay? But there are going to be trials and tribulations that are going to come. God is going to allow there to be something that's going to occur. Remember, I said a boom is coming. In this boom, there's visually going to be a scenario that is going to pull the idols down. Okay. The second horse, when they opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature come, and out came a horse, bright red, with a rider permitted to take the place on the earth. The red horse is financial calamity. Has anybody noticed? Let's just talk about it. The banking systems are falling. The certain dollars are falling. I was listening to one of the ministers. I know that the Lord done led me to the ministers that I listen to, because they talk about some stuff that most people wouldn't averagely talk about. And this particular gentleman was talking about the financial collapse of the American dollar and what the next two top dollar values are going to be. And he was talking about, he's had his people observing these financial principles in places for the past 3 years to position themselves for an outpouring. Okay? And I'm going to be honest with you, I'd have positioned myself with them if it hadn't been for the fact that I couldn't get in to get a hold of that financial, what do you call it? The thing that he was asking about. I could not get the bank to, it was a particular bank I was interested in working with to get that done. Couldn't get in with them. It was like I was being blocked. In a lot of cases, and during that season, I was trying to get myself financially secure. Things that I would try to get lined up, it would be a blockade to some of those things. God knows what He's doing in the season that He be doing it. So I trust that the reason it was blocked was because at that season He had something else He wanted to set me up with. But financial collapse, you're seeing the banks, 3 to 5 banks as of now have come and been shut down. People are trying to remove their money from banks. People aren't sitting up there spending recklessly like they've done in previous seasons. I remember back during the middle of the pandemic, one of the sharks from Shark Tank was talking about they wanted people to take that money that the government gave out in stipends to feed back into the system. And the fact of the matter is, most people were like, hell no, we're going to take that money, we're going to pay our bills and pay off our debts and get ourselves secure financially. People ain't sitting up here trying to recklessly spend money like that. If you got a financial debt, you going to put that money on debt. There was not a designation for where that money was supposed to be going. They may have thought that. They didn't say this is a loan for you too. They said that we are giving you this money, and those people took the money and put it where they wanted to put it. So the fact of the matter is, one of the horses is financial collapse. Next, the next seal that when opened, the third seal, I heard a living creature say, come. And I saw, and behold, a black horse riding, had balances in his hand. And I heard what seemed to be a voice in the midst of the 4 living creatures say, a quarter of wheat for a denarius, which is a 1 day of wage. As we are watching inflation inflate, cost of living, cost of food, cost is going up. But the fact of the matter, a lot of this is governmental. Remember, the woman had the watchman's eyes to see what it is that was going on. There are a lot of prophets and people that are speaking right now, but they've been not so much dumbed down, but algorithms won't let their videos come up, so on and so forth, because they talking about the fact that a lot of this was governmental reasons, because they can see what's actually going on, and that this was manufactured in a certain way, shape, or form, in order to bring about a level of control to make people think that when the Bible, notice a lot of people are coming out saying, oh, I'm Christian, I'm this, I'm that, and the other thing. But they are actually positioned in order to draw false prophets, people to go in the direction that the government desires, where there will be a level of imitation to the real prophets. But God's prophets, remember, in Revelations, God's showing you, I will show you that it was you that I love. These people will be operating, remember the Jews, they sojourn, operating under satanic principles. But even all of them gonna bow. Okay? This is deep. I know. It's a level of deepness. So, the fourth living creature said, okay, that was the fourth one. Oh, the fourth. I heard, and when he opened the fourth, and I heard the voice of the fourth creature say, come, I saw, and behold, a pale horse with its rider. Name was Death. God's going to be pulling down, and anybody in operation that is outside of the will of God, in political places, pharisaical places, you're going to see people coming down in religion, politics, these movements, all of it. He's going to be taking people out. For he is showing his judgment. And for those, because the fifth seal was for the people that attempted to come forth and tell ahead of time and were persecuted, slain, destroyed over time. Witnesses of his people. There are going to be earthquakes. Have you not seen? The earthquakes. The sixth seal is the earthquakes. The storms. The wrath of God. You think these storms coming into these certain areas and causing people to have to move from California, from here, strange up and comings of hurricanes and tornadoes and this, that, and the other in places that they usually aren't, and you're seeing all of these kinds of things, and you think God don't got nothing to do with that? Huh? 7. The 12 angels that are blowing the trumpet to cue the judgment of God. God is about to judge in certain areas. And he's warned, 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 and he's warned. He's warned. The world has tried to control, deter, distract, keep you encompassed in what it wanted you encompassed in through controlling the narrative and using the television to program your direction by keeping you hostage to the 7 mountains that you don't even realize are, most people don't realize, are the covering of the enemy to try to cover all of its bases. The government covering the education system. In what world This is how you know Satan is trying to gain control. Do they allow children to have their sexes changed? Are teaching children about homosexuality? And you think this? And they're controlling the trend through entertainment, music, arts, in order to what? Break up the family unit. And then, of course, remember Baal, that is operating as a level of godliness but no God in him, trying to redirect, because when people are starting to look for God, there must be a form of an antichrist spirit being operated that is an imitation of what God is. Because people see these things, but remember, they got to make sure that you go in the direction that they tell you. So they need to have a level of people operating a level of religion, which means there are people in high positions and high power places that have been paid off, that are actual pastors and people. But guess what? God's about to pull those down. Remember, God's pulling the idols. A third of what? The stars are going to come from out the sky. That includes in ministry, that includes in industry, that includes in politics. All these people going to come out of the sky. They're going to be dropped. Because God's going to, what did I say? What I say? That there are going to be trials that are going to come. And you had the wisdom to see it. And those who dwell upon the earth, I am coming soon. Hold fast to what you have, that no one may steal your crown. Because God about to come in there with all kinds of stuff. Act like you ain't seen it. But you know what I'm talking about. The weather, the things, all of that. The trumpets are going to be blown. And God's about to count down to the boom that he's going to shake up. But what that shake up is going to be is a notion to the children of God, for the world that is groaning in wait for the release of these children that are going to be bowed down to. Because people are going to see the calamity, see the confusion, see all this stuff happening. And it's going to be like, oh my God, I got to get right. I got to get in alignment. Because if I don't get right and get in alignment, I'm going to miss this thing. Something, this ain't right. I can't keep walking. Coming into the fullness of the recognition. And this woman represents the woman that gave birth to the child. You're in between the two. You're in between the church, state, industry, meaning the religious spirit that operates in the world, and the government, the governing bodies, all of this kind of stuff. But you have the recognition. She had the recognition, and she was stuck between two viewpoints. She was stuck between the fact that she recognized something sinister was going on here. A lot of you, the Lord has shown you things. What she ended up discovering was this man was involved, one of the two men she was involved with, was involved in child sex trafficking. There are things going on behind closed doors in these industries. God knows about it. Things going on in these political spaces with child sex trafficking. Politicians, industry leaders, celebrities, football players, all these kind of things, making sacrifices to keep them in their fame. You got eyes to see. You saw the skirt. You saw the dark thing. You saw it. and you knew you had to get it, and you had to stick with God because of the fact that you done seen what they didn't want you to see. But what? God said, they will see that it's you that I loved. They will see it. You're in a position that God has you in. God put you in that position for a reason. This woman only came out of her hiding. Come on, let's go back to Revelation. Revelations 12. Where we are. Okay. So, it's the midst of a battle. Anybody notice that these things kind of led to, all of these things are leading back to calamity coming for the trial, for the battle, for the thing that is to come. The boom. These industries experiencing a shift in God. A calamity that God is about to bring about. Come on. But nobody don't talk about that because they don't want to admit that this is a potential or possibility. For when the angels were dealing with Leviathan, come on, that now arose in the heaven Michael and the angels fighting against the dragon. On the dragon and the angels fought, but they were defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. And the great dragon was thrown down, that the serpent who's called the devil, Satan, the deceiver of the whole world, he was thrown down to the earth, down with him. And I heard the Lord voice in the heavens say, now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of God and the authority of Christ have come, for the accuser, the one that accuses the brethren and have thrown them down, they accused on that day and night before our God, the children of God being accused. And they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the blood of the Lamb. Remember, the Lamb, the seals. In the testimony. Now, the blood of the Lamb, as we know, that is Jesus Christ. But I'm going to go back further into this in the next part. Hold on.